favorite part.
Woo! Gets you fired up right now, ET. We're like glowing. Look at us glow. It's an orange glow too.
That's it.
This was my first event like this. I've never been in anything like this, and I'm gonna break it down real quick. I spent $600 for the ticket, and maybe like another $800 in expenses for the last 2 nights I've been in here. So what's that? $1,400 bucks. That $1,400 is gonna make me a millionaire.
It's only just begun.
It's only just begun. Let's go.
Hey, yeah, it's Cameron Springer. I'm with Growth Marketing Media. We're based out of Fort Collins. I heard about the Undercover Billionaire Bootcamp. I watched Undercover Billionaire, saw Matt create a $5.5 million business with Grant, and I've been following Grant for a long time. So I know that anyone that Grant would select to do a business opportunity like that, I had to come meet, I had to come get to know, and I can't tell you that this has inspired me. The speakers that Matt brought to this, the level of talent, I mean, it was insane. Like the type of value that you get from this event, you can't put a price tag on it. I mean, they could have charged 50 grand and it would have been worth it, because I know I'm going to take this away and I'm going to go make 8 figures.
You need 3 things to have success. You need confidence, you need courage, and you need commitment. If you just learn how to apply those to your life, you're gonna win every time. I encourage you, if you ever have any opportunity to come to Wake Up Pueblo, meet Matt and Jenny and the team, don't miss the opportunity, don't miss the moment. Myself personally, I wanna do business with them, I wanna support them, I wanna encourage everything they do. My name is Carlos Salguero. Look for me on Instagram, I am Carlos 10X. Let's go.
Let's go.
My name is Chris Callier. I was on season 2 of Undercover Billionaire, and I wouldn't have missed this opportunity to come meet Matt and Jenny Smith and the whole team here at Wake Up Pueblo. Pretty exciting to see this crew and know what they've gone through to build something incredible, not only in Pueblo, but for the whole worldwide business community.
You rolling?
Yep.
All right, cool. Hey, what's up? I'm Michael Unbroken, author, speaker, and coach. I work with adult survivors of childhood trauma, and I'm a huge fan of not only the 10X community, but Wake Up Pueblo, these amazing people, these awesome organizations trying to change the world, help you spread your mission, your message, and your goals, your dreams. This was a phenomenal event. I highly recommend that you get here next year and follow what these guys are doing, because it will change your business, your life, and your world. All right, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see you.
Let's go.
Check, check. You guys hear me all right?
Mike.
You're
Green
on.
screen is extra green right now. Let's go, Jacob.
Get it.
We're about to get started here in a minute.
Man, I want to get to know Prada. I can't wait for the fire he's going to bring, man. You've been bragging about him for like 3 months. This guy's going to change my life in like 40 minutes. I can't wait, man. Yep. Right.
All right, what's up, everybody? Give me a kind of a thumbs up or drop something in the chat. Let me know you could hear me. You could see me all right. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to kind of intro everybody while we, trickle in some more attendees here. and definitely hit the chat and drop your guys' names, your cities. What do you do? Because at the end of the day, it's all about connections and how we could help one another. So you never know who's in the room. You never know who's on the chat. So go ahead and drop that in there right now. Obviously we got Matt Smith. Matt, your camera's sideways, by the way.
He's sideways,
but
man.
yeah.
That's my
So we got
life.
Matt
That's not my
Smith.
camera. That's my entire world, baby.
So
How
we
about
got
now?
Matt Smith on the call. You're good. You're
better?
looking good.
Which
Got the
one?
wake up
All
shirt
right,
on.
let's go.
As we all know, he is the man that built a $5.5 million business with Grant Cardone in less than 90 days. And he is also the CEO and founder of Snooze Mattress Franchise. We got Eric Thompson on the call as well. He's going to be helping me moderate today, president of Wake Up and Snooze. He has a background in strategic executive coaching and is now helping us scale Wake Up. Me, myself, I am Jacob Rivera. I'm the GM, Executive Creative Director here at Wake Up Pueblo. And I've been putting together all these webinars, to promote the Undercover Billionaire Bootcamp that's happening April 27th. Make sure you guys check that out. We got the link in the chat. We're going to have a lot of exciting speakers and people coming like Prada, our speaker guest today. It's been a ride. I want to also make sure before I get started that I give a shout out to Gabe Coleman over here that's been helping me in the back end of things. But honestly, I'm personally so excited for today because our special guest has a wealth of knowledge and he will be here in person April 27th. I'm in Pueblo, Colorado at the boot camp. So make sure you guys get your tickets. At the end of the day, guys, if it wasn't for Undercover Billionaire, we wouldn't have been able to connect like this if it wasn't for the TV show. And one of the pivotal moments that everybody loves and talks about is when Grant Cardone gets the $10,000 check from Matt Smith. And throughout the show, everyone's always asking Matt, like, was it real? Was there really a check? Like, can I just ask you for $10,000? How does that work? Right. And there's so much story through that, behind the scenes that didn't get up on the show. And if you look at the show, you see Grant Cardone constantly saying, who has my money? Right. He's in Pueblo, Colorado. Who has my money? And who can I meet that could get me there? He knew that with only $100 to his name, that he needed to leverage other people's money while he was in Pueblo, Colorado to do this. And the thing was, when he got the money from Matt, it wasn't just, hey, let me get the 10,000. He asked how he could help first, how he could serve Matt and how he could help him in his business for free. No money asked at all before he finally asked for the $10,000 advance on something that he committed on. And in turn, they were able to connect. They were able to build the $5.5 million business, which is Wake Up Now. Fast forward a year later, I'm with Matt Smith. I'm at GrowthCon networking. I started talking to a guy about social media who humbly stated that he had about 100,000 followers. After going through his page the next day, I learned he was an incredible mind in the financial space. Now today he's sitting at 256,000 followers and is helping hundreds of people around the world leverage credit and access other people's money, just like GC did on the TV show. I'm super excited to bring him to the stage, let him teach us today. And again, in April at the Undercover Billionaire Bootcamp, he'll be here live and in person. So, you guys, if you guys come to the event, you could meet him, shake his hand, ask him some questions. He'll be on stage presenting. And today he's also going to give us some Q&A. So stick around to the end. With that being said, Prada Jones, Mr. Let's Get Active. How you doing, man? We're excited.
I'm
Let's go,
terrific, man.
Prada.
What's up, family?
Welcome,
How's
welcome.
everyone doing? Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Thanks for coming in today, and look forward to seeing you in person here in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I'm telling you. We got a lot to cover once I get there today. In the essence of time, I'm gonna kind of give a speed lesson, if you will, but it's going to be impactful. It's going to be actionable, right? There's one thing. I want you guys to take some information and go apply it immediately so we can get to our goal. And our goal is to access funds. That's the overall goal. I won't go too deep about who I am, but my name is Prada Jones, and I've been in this space for at least the last 7 years of my life. I started leveraging credit because I went to the bank and I got denied when I tried to take my business. At the time, it was a medical supply business, and I was trying to get it to the next level. And I needed some funds. I ran out of my own money, and I went to the bank and I got denied. From that moment on, I shift gears and shift focus to understanding why I got denied for accessing credit from the bank. And from that point on, I just dedicated my life to learning it and teaching others currently. So today, I want to teach you guys a few things to help you guys access funds. A lot of people think you need to have, a revenue of 100,000 or more before you can get funding, or making come of 100 grand or more. There's a lot of banks out there that will give you funding without having any financials. That means no documents, stated income. All right, and you can go to the bank and access these funds. But it all boils down to your data points on your personal profile, your personal credit profile. Okay, so with the personal credit profile, you need to have a certain amount of data points to pass the underlying underlying guidelines at the bank. What am I talking about? Let me pull up my screen. Give me a second here, guys.
He's pulling up his screen. Here we go. Let's get it.
I want you guys to get hot. I want let me see what I got here. Pull up
you bringing like years of wisdom in on this. All right, let's get it.
Yeah. Now you guys are gonna get it. You're gonna get the good stuff. No fluff. Right? We're gonna talk personal credit today. By the time I see you guys in person, I'm gonna be talking about business funding. But it all revolves around the same thing. The same data points necessary to get you business funding gets you the personal funding. So you have to be structured on both sides, the personal and business side. All right, the personal and business side. So hold on, let me pull this up. Do I have the ability to share screen?
If not, Jacob's gonna hook you up.
Please, Jay, please.
What you having problems presenting to the screen?
Yeah, it's saying, well, hold on, let me try it again. Where we at? Okay. Hold on. Sorry. Not the best with the tech. That's why I do credit. There we go. This should do. Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Let's go ahead and do this slideshow from the beginning. Okay, personal credit funding. All right, we're going to talk personal credit funding. You structure yourself properly on the personal side, you'll get everything you want on the business side. All right, so let's go through it. Why do you need credit? Too many reasons, right? If you have any type of business, any business at all, you need money. All right. I don't care if it's low entry to get in that business, it's a cash business. If you have access to more money, you can grow, you can scale, you can market, you can hire, you can expand. So that's why I love credit, because it can actually build my company from zero. Most people think you have to start business, make the money, then you use the money to invest back into the business and grow. Do it the opposite way. Access the funds first into the business. So from day one, you're coming in like wheels. $100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand of the bank's money. I have access to it to invest in my company so I can grow way faster than most of my competitors. And that's what I've done in my business. I've accessed funds and I've grew my business way faster than most people that have been in my same industry for years. Right? So let's talk about credit bureaus. This is one-on-one stuff, but I have to cover it. Consumer reporting agencies, that's really what a credit bureau is, right? And there's more consumer reporting agencies than the big three that we know, which is Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. But these companies are just for profit. They're not government agencies. So don't be afraid of them, right? Don't be afraid of calling them and telling them you don't like certain things that's being reported. You need to dispute some things. These are for-profit corporations. They earn income for every trade line listed on your credit report. What's a trade line? A trade line is simply anything that's reporting on your credit. That means that collections a trade line, the charge-offs a trade line, the Chase account that you may have, your phone bill if it's reported, they're all trade lines, okay? Now, there's two main types of trade lines. There's the authorized user trade line, then there's your primary trade line. Okay, the authorized user trade line are basically secondary trade lines. Those are the cards that you attach to someone else. Like say you have a spouse or a family member that has great credit, they have credit cards, and you're like, hey, put me on as an authorized user on your credit card so I can grow my credit, so my credit score could go up. All right. Now we don't really care about those, but to this point, if you've been hearing anything online, most people tell you, hey, just keep authorized user trade line and boost your credit score and you'll get what you want. But on the business side, which we really care about, the business funding side, authorized user trade lines do not exist. The banks will see right through those authorized user trade lines and they will not apply it to your overall credit profile to approve you for the loans, lines of credit, and the credit cards. We only want to focus on primary trade lines. Primary trade lines are the trade lines that you go after that has your social security number attached to it. Okay, we're talking personal profile here, so stay with me. This means you have to get that auto loan, the mortgage, the cards, only your name. You can't attach yourself to someone else. This is from co-signing. This is primary trade lines. You can have co-signers, but you don't want to have authorized users on your cards, nor do you want to be an authorized user on someone else's card because it won't work for business funding, and that's the ultimate goal. Okay, so these are three bureaus. If you need to reach out to them for any reason, structure some things, this is where you want to go. Okay, do you want to call them up or send them a letter? This is what you do. All right, you reach out to them here. I like to call myself the coiner of the three-step process. You fix your credit, you build your credit, then you go for funding. See your credit, what's that mean? You fix derogatory marks, you remove collections, you move charge-offs. You have to do this in order to be eligible for loans and lines of credit down the line. Your credit, which is step two, build your credit. It encompasses having the right data points, which we'll talk about in just a moment, and also structuring yourself properly. Most people think that, it's on the profile, but it's also about how the profile is set up, the structure, like the name, the emails, the phone numbers that's attached, the addresses, the addresses. Oh my Lord. Your address. If you're like me and you've moved around state to state, city to city, and you've done applications along the way, your personal profile has multiple addresses listed. Now, to the credit bureaus and the lenders, when they pull your credit and they see all these different addresses, you kind of look like you're unstable because you have so many addresses reported. Another thing, your phone numbers. If you have so many different phone numbers attached to your personal profile, you so look like they can't reach you in a time of need because they don't have an accurate phone number. You have so many reported. So what you want to do is you want to remove all the ones that are inaccurate, update everything, one address, one phone number, one variation of your name, one variation of your name. Okay, I'm Smith, right? Some implications I go and say I'm John Smith. That's perfect. I love first and last name solutions. Sometimes you may have a middle name. An application, they may ask you for your middle name. So now you're John Andrew Smith. Okay, great. Another application you do, they don't allow you to put your whole entire middle name, just the middle initial. Then you're John A. Smith. Okay, so now when you go to another bank and they pull your credit, you'll see three different variations of your name. Technically, those are three different people. So you pick the best variation of your name and stick to it. I don't care if they ask you for a middle name. I don't care if they ask you for a middle initial. If you're John Smith today, then you're John Smith tomorrow. And you want to remove all other variations of your name from your credit report. All right. You can do all of this with a letter, update letter. We'll drop you guys something so you guys can use later on and help you out with that structure. That structure is very important. Okay, it's very, very important. Now, we minimize denials on credit applications. This is what it's all about. Okay, if we understand, think about it. If it's game night, football. I don't watch much football, but I'm gonna try to use this as a quick comparison. Right? Sunday night football. I don't know. Let's say I'm the Giants. I'm going against the Eagles. Right? I don't know many teams. Right? I'm going against the Eagles. I'm the Giants. I'm going against the Eagles. It's Sunday night football. Access to the Eagles playbook. Do you think I had the advantage of winning now? Pretty sure I do, right? I have an upper hand because I know what the Eagles are going to be playing. I know what they're going to run. I know their passing. I know the defense. I know everything that they have. Essentially, this is what we're doing with this training. We know the play of the banks. We know what they want. We know what they wrap our profiles in order to give us the loans, lines of credit. And it's not just income. It's running out of income. Now is it about your revenue. So even side goals, whether it's personal or business, income is like, I can't even say secondary. It's more so third or fourth. I don't know, it's down the line somewhere. Structure and data points matter the most. Okay? Structure and data points matter the most. Let's talk about it. I want everyone to pull their credit from annualcreditreport.com. We don't have the time for everyone to do it today on this call and go through it. But by the time I see you guys again, you guys are going to shake my hand and say thank you for that. Okay. Now, what you're going to do when you pull your reports from annualcreditreport.com is one, you're going to fix the variations of your name. We just mentioned that. You're going to pick either first and last variation or first name, middle initial, and last name. I don't want anyone to take a first name, middle name, last name, because it's going to become a time where you're not allowed to put the entire middle name. You can only use the middle initial, and now that's two variations. Okay, so pick the first and last if you can. If not, then pick first, middle initial, last. That's the best variations I can give you. If you like, those people that have multiple middle names, reach out to me. We'll figure something out. I'll help you out the best way I can. All right. That's the name, your variation of your addresses. You want to make sure that the address not only is the most current one, it also matches your driver's license, right? On top of that, the same address needs to be reporting the same way the USPS reports it on their website. So you just shoot over to USPS.com. That's our mailing system, right? We want to make sure that the address is reporting the same way. I'm sure sometimes you guys go on applications, you do applications online, and you fill it in the way you think best, right? You fill your address in the way you think is the best way, and then the computer spits you back out a rebuttal and say, hey, do you mean 123 Main Street spelled like this? Maybe they abbreviate street and you spelled out street the whole way. Okay, it's the USPS APIs or whatever. I don't know if it's tech stuff. Please forgive me there, but I'm gonna hit you up and say no. It should be this way, and that's the USPS guidelines or standard format of your address. So you want that to be the same on your profile, your credit profile, and on your driver's license. All right. So you got a little bit of homework to do there. Go to USPS.com, figure out what your address is reporting like, the standard format, keep that same address, dated on your credit report, dated on your license. All right. So we'll move down a little bit. Social security numbers, date of birth, phone number, email. Okay. You want to have one. Those people, you'll see when you pull that annual credit report, you may have multiple phone numbers, right? You may have multiple social security numbers, even date of births, and even emails. You want to synchronize it all. Have one variation of all of them. I like to also get a phone number and email aside from the one that I use personally. So all my banking relationships go to one phone number. You can get a Google Voice, right? Google Voice number. So anytime that Google Voice rings, maybe it's a bank or maybe a loan that you're pending on, something like that. And then set up a new Gmail, okay? If my name's Prada Jones at Gmail, that's my regular one. Maybe I just do Prada Jones at Gmail or Prada Jones 123 at Gmail, right? But 123 is specific for my banking relationships. And then you're gonna update that information with all your current bank accounts, right? All your current bank accounts have to have that same information. What we're doing here, guys, is synchronizing our data across the board. So everywhere that our information is being reported, it's the same because the bureaus don't make this stuff up. We actually give them this information. They take it from applications that we've given someone else our information. So if we're the ones giving out the information that they're using against us later on, then we need to be intentional about the information we're giving out. right? And since we didn't know this information before, we have to backtrack and fix a lot of things. All right. Now we state the information everywhere. Don't update any negative accounts. If you have charge-offs, collections, update those accounts. Only the ones that are positive and reporting, positively, not the negative ones. Because the negative ones, you can come back later and do some credit repair. Maybe you get with me, I help you out with some credit repair, whatever the case may be. But we're going to clean off those negative accounts. So you don't want to update that with this new information that we just talked about, right? And finally, update your job. If you guys have businesses, there's businesses, and we're going to get into that. Oh man, we're going to get into business not today, but when we see each other next time, not at the stage, I'm going to take a super mean dive into business funding. But we need this first. We need the personal structure first. Now, we're going to date our profiles with that same business that we're later going to get funding for. All right. So if you own ABC Solutions, and ABC Solutions is going to get the funding that you want eventually, ABC Solutions on your credit report as your employer, right? And you can also add your 9 to 5 as well if you have one. You have both of them reporting, because later down the line, when we do business funding and we say we're employed by ABC Solutions, they'll also, match it with your personal credit profile and say, yes, we see that. Okay, perfect. All right. It's all about matching data points and lowering risk. We live in a tech and digital virtual era, so there's a lot of things going on. So the more that you plan your information and have everything matching, easier you'll get that underwriting and that automatic approval versus going to manual underwriting. When you go to manual underwriting, they lower your credit limits, and sometimes they just deny you flat out because they can't verify who you are. I don't know if you guys have ever had that issue when they just can't verify who you are. That's because you have so much data reporting, they just don't know who you are. All right. So we got to synchronize and really just turn everything into one situation. All right. Now, your credit does not matter, or your credit score does not matter. All right. It's all about the data points. I keep talking about data points. Data points, data points, data points. Excuse me. Now, this is a quick scenario, and this is real life. The names are a little different, but this is real life. Okay. Tom, he has a 720 credit score. Okay. He has one authorized user trade line. All right. And it goes and applies for a credit card with Amex. This is a real story. One authorized user trade line. Remember, authorized user trade line is a trade line where you get on someone else's credit and you piggyback off of their good habits, sometimes bad habits. You really don't even know sometimes, right? And they actually pull you down because you're piggybacking off of someone's bad habits. But in this scenario, they had good report, right? They had good credit history and a high limit. Tom didn't really have his own credit, and he got on that personal or that secondary credit card, on that authorized user credit card, and his score went up. He went and applied, and he got denied. All right, he went and applied for Amex card, he got denied. Matthew, on the other hand, low credit score, 695, but 10 primary trade lines. Okay, she did have 2 authorized user trade lines, which really didn't matter, but she had them, and she applies for credit with Amex, and she gets approved. This is a real story. This happens every day, right? The moral of this story is you don't need data points. It's not about the credit score. You can have a 100 credit score. If you have the wrong data points or not the right profile, your profile is thin, you don't have those primary trade lines that we talked about, you're going to get denied for funding. All right. It's simple as that. You can't get around it. Now, let's talk a little bit about data points and how that really, plays into the overall scenario here. Payment history is 35% of your credit pie. Okay. 35%, that's a huge amount. Huge amount. Okay. The next up is amounts owed. So let's go back a second. Payment history is 35%. 35% of payment history means for every time you have a late payment, you can lose essentially 50 to 100 points on your credit report, sometimes even more. Okay, let's do the math. The FICO is from 300 to 850 on the scores, right? 300 to 850. That's a total of 550 points. Now, if you have bad payment history, which accounts for 35%, that's 192 points alone with just payment history. So paying the bill on time and avoiding late payments is a huge part of your profile. Okay. Second comes the amounts owed. This is utilization. This means you can't have maxed out credit cards. You cannot have maxed out credit cards and go to the bank and then think we're going to get approved. Remember, we have the playbook. The playbook says the banks want to see their 20% utilization. And this is within the last 24 months, because this is what the banks do. They look back at your relationships for the last 24 months with other, institutions to decide whether they're going to approve you or not. So it's not just before you go to get the funding, you pay everything down. You want to have a consistent history of having these low limits. And I'm not telling you you can't max out a credit card. What I am saying is you cannot have that maxed out credit card reported. So by the time it's time to report that utilization, okay, traffic doesn't get reported. It's the utilization, which is by the time the cycle date comes around, the closing date comes around, they take the information of the credit card limit and then they send that information to the credit bureaus. So if you catch it before the closing date and you bring down the utilization, you bring down the limit, or you bring down the debt owed, you're going to be terrific on paper every time. And as soon as that date has passed, you can spend again, down however you want to do. Okay. Now, length of history doesn't really account for much. Most people think they have to have so many years of history. I've done wonderful things with clients within 6 to 12 months of building credit from scratch. Most people are not even in that situation. Maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years. It's a low history, but we can work with that. You can get approved with that. New credit. This means, what have you done in the last 24 months? Have you got new credit cards? How many inquiries have you had? All right. It'll hurt you if you have a lot of new credit. But once again, it's only 10% of your profile. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. And types of credit used, right? That's your charge cards, okay, or your charge accounts. That's your what else you have? You have installment loans, okay, that's your auto loan, that's your mortgage, your personal loans, your student loans. Student loans actually help as long as they're not, actually negatively reporting, right? If they're deferred, that's fine. Forbearance is not so good, okay? You want to just have no defaults. If it's in default, we got to fix that. We got to remove it. We got to do something. We'll reach out and figure that out. But student loans help as long as it's reporting positive. And then lastly, your revolving accounts. That's your credit cards. Revolving accounts, typically you can carry debt month to month. All right. You don't have to pay it in full like a charge card. Charge cards, you got to pay it in full, like your Amex cards. Sometimes it's depending on what utility bill you have, that'll be placed on your personal profile as well. And those have to be paid in full in 30 days. So that's a charge account. Okay. So, but they like to see a nice mixture of all. Now, before I go into this information here, there's something I don't have on the slides, and I want you guys to know this. Okay. A great structured profile looks like this. There's a few things that you want to have. One, all tier 1 to tier 3 credit cards. Tier 1 to tier 3. I'll tell you what a tier 1 to tier 3 card is. It's tier 1. Let's start with tier 1. Tier 1 is Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, and Citi. Any one of those credit cards are tier 1. Those are the only 4 tier 1 banks. Okay. Now, when we get into the tier 2s, we're talking more Amex, Discover, TD Bank, Capital One, US Bank. It's about all your regional banks, right? Anything regional is pretty much a tier 2 bank. Now, tier 3, that's our credit unions, that's our community banks. Those are things that you only find right in the area, okay? Right in your area. Now, tier 4 is the ones we want to stay away from. And actually, if you have them, they're actually bringing down your fundability more than you think. Remember, it's not about having a high score. It's about the data points. And within this data points, you want to look as good on paper as possible, right? There's a big difference between an A-list actor and a C-list actor. Okay, it's a big difference. Maybe a few $1 million in difference. All right, and it's the same thing when it comes to these secondary or better yet, these tier 4 credit cards versus a tier 1 credit card. Now, I'm okay anything tier 1 to tier 3, but tier 4 is a no-go. Those are your Macy's, those are your finance companies, your Care Credit, your what else do they have? Security banks. There's a whole bunch of them. Credit One. What else is there? Merrick Bank, Open Sky, First Premier. It's a whole bunch of those tier 4 that they get you when you're on your rise. You're trying to build credit. They find you. They offer you something when no one else is offering you anything, and that's a whole nother topic in itself. Because when they're offering you guys these offers and they're sending you these pre-approvals, you're a target. It's not that you just have great credit and they want to give you money. You're a target. You're on a marketing list, which also brings down your fundability because you get on this list and the FICO algorithm knows you're on this list. And depending on how many times you take these marketing offers, go determines who you are. You don't want to speak to them, but they determine who you are. They said this person is struggling, they're in many trouble, they need credit. Because every time someone sends you an offer, you take it. Unlike me, when I see them, I look them up. And I actually took it a step further and I remove myself from these lists, right? I go to optoutprescreen.com. I actually shot some content about this last night, so it's fresh on my mind. Go to optoutprescreen.com, remove yourself from these marketing lists, so that way you won't hurt your FICO score and your fundability, okay? But back to what a structured profile looks like. Tier 1 and Tier 3 credit cards. The same credit card. This is for optimization purposes, right? Everyone's not going to look like this, but you want to try your best to get to this point. Tier 1 and tier 3 credit cards. Anywhere from 3 to 5 Tier 1 to Tier 3 credit cards. Those same credit cards need to be reporting to all 3 credit bureaus. That's all 3 major credit bureaus, not just 1 or 2 of them, all 3. Also want those same credit cards to have credit limits of $10,000 or more. This is optimizing now. Right? Most people don't even have those high limits, but what you do is every 6 months, you ask your credit card issuer, your lender, for an increase, a limit increase. Don't just wait around for them to give it to you. I don't care if it comes with a hard inquiry or not. You need the profile structured a certain way in order to maximize funding on the business side. Okay. And that's pretty much it as far as the credit goes. The structure with the types of cards, and of course, you want to have a mortgage and an auto loan. If you can put it in a budget, have a mortgage reporting and an auto loan reporting, and now you're structured properly. Okay. Now let's talk about these data points here. If you look here, I took a snapshot of Credit Karma. Right. This is what a good report looks like for personal and business funding. Remember, everything that we do on a personal side is going to affect the business side. The reason why we focus on the personal is because this is pretty much the goose that lays the golden eggs. I got that from my guy, Merrill, right? He says that a lot. The goose that lays golden business eggs. Okay? If the goose isn't happy, if she's not pampered, she's not relaxed and feeling good, she may produce eggs, still may produce you business eggs, business credit eggs, right? But they're not going to be golden, meaning you're going to get low limits. Sometimes you're going to get denied. Those eggs come out, you crack them, there's all kind of yolk in there, there's no babies in there, there's no baby goose, it's just a dead egg, okay? So we want to make sure now personal credit is fantastic. Take pride in your personal credit, all right? Because it's going to produce so much money for you on the business side. I can't stress that enough, all right? We talked about payment history, 100% payment history. This is what we want to look like before we even attempt to get any credit from the banks, whether it's personal credit or business. Payment history, 100%, all right? If it's not 100%, that means we need to update some late payments or something like that, okay? Hard inquiries, we want to have that 2 or less. The time of funding, 2 or less. Sometimes you can have more depending on when you got that hard inquiry. They drop off by themselves 2 years. And then anything after like 6 to 12 months does not affect your fundability anymore. Okay, so you can still get more credit after 6 to 12 months of having those inquiries. All right. Credit utilization, I prefer 10% or under. The banks will allow you to have 20% or under. Never tell you how much you need, but I know because I have done so many funding, applications that this is the sweet spot. Even better if you can get it in between like $99, let's say, and 1%, whatever that may look like for your credit card. $99 and 1% utilization, right? Because if you have $1,000 or let's say $10,000 credit limit, 1% now becomes, my math is off right now, $100, yeah, something like that. But $99 to 1%, depending on whatever your credit limit is. Okay, that's a very sweet spot. But at minimum, under 20%. Derogatory marks, 0. Okay, any negatives, we got to clean them off. Then total accounts, this is for optimization purposes. 10 accounts, I already told you, 3 to 5 credit cards, and then the others could be installment loans and things like that. A total of 10 accounts reporting positively. It's great. And in the credit age of 5 years or more, I've done wonderful things with 2 years. With 5, the average age of 5 is golden. Okay, you're golden. Now, this is for all my people that's actually building credit from scratch. Okay, if you're building credit from scratch, you have kids and things like that, I don't suggest you putting them on as an authorized user. I told you, authorized user trade lines really don't support the profile the way people think. So we need to get positive or better yet, primary trade lines. Okay, Self Inc. This is a tier 4 situation, but what happens here is we'll get an installment loan. But tier 4 is better than an authorized user. Okay, and I'm not getting a credit card with Self. Tell you why. Self Inc. gives you a secure credit card that doesn't mature into unsecured. Right, it doesn't mature into unsecured. So after the 12 months or so that they give you with this secure credit card, you'll just close the card and it'll be a closed card. So you just wasted a year building credit and then you close the account. Rather, I want a card that's going to mature like Discover. Discover has a card that matures. Navy Federal has a card that matures. Andrews Federal Credit Union has a card that matures. So after 6 to 7 months, they're going to give you your money back, right? But you put on the secure credit card, give you your money back and give you an unsecured credit card. Okay, so you continue building. You don't lose any time that you spent with them, and you continue building credit. So it's great for people starting out. And also, for our children, if you have any of that age, 18, 19, things like that, 17. All right. This rent reporters, Credit My Rent, Rental Karma, I don't like them because they don't report to 3 bureaus. And remember what I said a minute ago, a great trade line reports to all 3 credit bureaus. Okay. These don't, but in the essence of building credit from scratch, they can help you get along. Help you get to that point that you do have those credit cards that we really want. Okay, Navy Federal, Air Force Credit Union, Andrews Federal Credit Union. These also not only have the secure credit card that I just mentioned a moment ago, but they have secured loans. Okay, if you remember a moment ago, we said we need a combination of credit cards, which is revolving accounts, and installment loans. So these secured loans, the reason that you have loans, approved on your credit report, and now that'll help you get loans down the line. Okay, so you get these credit, you get the credit card, you get the loan, and it's a nice combination for you now do a personal funding sequence. We can't get business funding just yet. All right, we need to get the personal credit cards and build, right? Those personal credit cards, the 3 to 5 credit cards that we need to structure our profiles properly. All right, so let's talk funding. All right, this is personal funding. This is not business funding. So I don't want you guys to take this information and run to the banks and try to get business funding. But this structures you to get to the business funding, and it's very similar on the business side. But we need to do a lot more structuring in your business profiles, like the same thing we did with the personal name, address, phone numbers. On the business side, you want to be in a low risk industry. right? Restaurants, construction, trucking, those are high risk industries. So if you're in the industry, 10 times real estate, of course, real estate, the worst of them all. If you go to the bank, they're going to deny you for that loan line of credit 9 out of 10 times. You may be able to get a credit card, and I know what to do with credit cards, 0% interest credit cards. We love 0% interest credit cards because we liquidate them, go to the bank, or better yet, we'll liquidate them and then we'll take those funds and invest it as cash with 0% for 12 months. So essentially, it's free money. Okay, it's free money. It's free money because we don't pay any interest on it for 12 months, sometimes even up to 18 months. I've even seen 24 months, 0% interest. Okay, but we could get 100, 200, $300,000 of the bank's money. I have a mentee who's just came in my program, maybe let's say December. He's actually up to $800,000 of the bank's money. 90% of it was no financials, stated income, 90% of it. The rest of it, he used the same funding that he got from the other banks to run through his business account to give him financials necessary to get the other 10%. Right? So when I tell you, you can access a lot of money, using credit cards, liquidating credit cards, moving things around, you can. But we need to be intentional about our structure and our data points. Right? And if you're not there yet, this information can get you there for the next 6 to 12 months. And that's a fast time. All right. People hear those months and they're like, oh my God, I can't get it today. Yeah. The worst time to go after money is when you need it. So you need to structure, be patient, and then access the funds when you don't need it. So that way you can utilize it properly. All right. Now let's talk about it. This is basically what we do to fill out these applications. Let's give you guys a super course. I couldn't do 20 minutes. So my God, I couldn't do 20 minutes. I know how to do 20 minutes. 20 minutes, like, it's like 5 minutes in my eye.
We need a lifetime for this topic.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you. Make sure you run this back and you send it to everybody who missed it because they need this information. All right. Now, what do you put on these applications? Everybody wants to know. All right. I'm never going to tell you to put something that you don't do. All right. So sometimes, but you got to understand the difference between stated income and having to produce information to back up your income. Okay. When it's stated income, sometimes it's projected income. Projected meaning, what do you think you're going to have this year? All right. For me, and this is an old slide, I'm using $170,000 on most of my applications. It's a little bit up now. I've been doing very good in life. So, I got to update that. But for a lot of people, 170 may be high. Okay. So now if 170 is not your number, go down to your number. All right. But if you project that you're going to get an increase, you're going to get some more money, some more income this year, you can put that on your report or on an application. The same way you can use household income, not just your income. So you can use your wife's income. You can add that to your income that you're putting on the application. You can use your children if they're of age and they're making money. You can find incomes and put it on the application. All right. Listen, when they ask you about the address, how long have you been there? Keep it at 2 years or more. If you don't put 2 years or more, they're going to ask you for your previous address. And once again, that's going to start hurting everything that we tried doing in the beginning of this conversation, which was synchronize our data. This is how you start putting old addresses back on the report, and we only want the most current one on there. So if you're not there for the last 2 years, listen, if it's a moving thing, you don't want to put it on there in 2 years, just know you're going to hurt your profile. You're going to start discombobulating things all over again. 2 years, so all you got to put, you don't have to put the previous address, right? Employed. We're talking about employed, there's the self-employed, employed. Self-employed person is someone that's trying to figure it out in the eyes of the bank. Employed, that means you have a guaranteed check. So now I feel better about loaning you anything. Giving you a credit card, giving you a line of credit, giving you a loan, I feel better about it. All right. But when you go to the bank and you just say, hey, I'm self-employed, I just started my business. Okay. Well, if it works out for you, champ. But if you say I'm employed by my business, you don't even have to say it's your business. They're not asking you. They just want to know where you get your income. And you're employed, always employed. never a student, never self-employed, never retired, none of that stuff. Always employed. Both checkers and savings. They're going to ask you if you have one. All right. And they're going to ask you if you want one. I'm ready to get both of them in relationship with the banks. Builds my internal credit score and just gives me a better rapport with the bank, and it gives me a better chance of approval. Okay. Because sometimes the banks don't even look at your personal credit score, they look at your internal credit score. Right. If you've been banking with a bank for the last 10 years, you have an internal credit score, and especially if you've been handling your business doing good, they'll override what it looks like on your personal profile or your personal credit score and use the internal credit score. Okay. Now, rental, when it comes to rent or mortgage payments, right? You can also report that you're paying half. Like if you have a spouse and your rent is 3,000, you can say you're paying 1,500. Right? What's this going to do is going to help with your DTI, your debt to income ratio. So now the banks feel better about giving you money because you don't have all these expenses. You want to keep those expenses down, keep them down, right? So you can split your rent in half with you and your spouse and say that you're reporting this much. All right. Pre-approvals are another great way of checking your chances before applying. I like to do my applications overnight sometimes. It makes me feel like, the computers are the only things working, no manual underwriting. And for me, it's happened. It's worked a lot of times. I've done applications overnight and got better results than doing it in the daytime. Right. But if your profile is structured properly, it don't matter what time of day that you do the applications, you're gonna get approved. 9 out of 10 times anyway. Now, those pre-approvals, you go to places like Navy Federal, Capital One. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Google pre-approval credit cards, and a whole list will pop up. All right. Now, when you're funding, apply to the banks by the credit bureaus. Okay. By the credit bureaus. We're going to really take a deep dive on this with the business side. But like I said, it's the same thing. The personal and business side is the same thing. Okay. So the magic that I had, and I tell all my clients this, I'm not doing anything that you can't do yourself. Right. The only difference is I specialize in having the playbook, the banks, and also knowing what credit bureaus the banks pull from. What I mean by that is each bank, each lender that you go to for funding, they're going to pull your credit from a particular credit bureau. Sometimes they pull from TransUnion. Sometimes they pull from Equifax. Sometimes they pull from Experian. Sometimes they pull from all three. Sometimes they pull from 2 out of 3. You need to know where they pull from so you can keep count of your inquiries that you're racking up along the way. So you want to avoid any credit bureau that you're not looking spectacular on. Some people could go to the credit report right now and say, oh, wow, TransUnion is very high, it's looking good, versus maybe this collection that just popped up that's only reporting on Equifax. Right, so you want to avoid Equifax, go over to TransUnion and Experian and get the funding that you need. But you need to know what banks are pulling from TransUnion and Experian, so you can avoid Equifax. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a few of those in just a moment. Now, 5 to 6 applications is if I'm doing a personal sequence, right? Per bureau, that's a lot. But if I'm doing a business sequence, and that's probably where my mind frame was when I wrote that. 5 to 6 accounts is what I'm going for under the business. So now, if we get, let's say, 4 out of 6 on each credit bureau, we just accumulated 12 new lines of credit. All right, 12 new credit lines, and that could accumulate well over 100,000 if your profile is structured properly. Okay. So let's look and see what this looks like. Remember, this is personal funding. So I want you to go and take all of these suggestions and do them all. If you need to add some more data points to your personal profile so we can go and get some business funding, then do these. And if you have clients that need some funding, do these. If you need extra funds on the personal, use not credit cards, but loans. Because credit cards, when you utilize a credit card on your personal profile, you're going to tank your credit score. When you use it on the business side, it doesn't affect your score. 90% of the business credit cards do not report the personal credit. All right. I wish we had more time to talk about business today, but we don't. But you need this just as much as business. All right. Now, Stream. Here's a place that I love to go. I love to go to Lightstream. I get money from Lightstream from my clients, from myself all the time. All right. You can get a loan. If you're not getting a loan in life, I'm talking about this is your first time ever applying for a loan. You want to keep things down. Request about 20,000 bucks. They're gonna give you about 20,000 bucks. In the event that you're denied, that same inquiry is going to last for 30 days. So you can reapply with Lightstream, move some things around, pull some numbers, and hopefully you get approved again. But if you follow everything we talked about for the last, I don't know, almost an hour, then you're gonna be golden. 20K if you never had a loan. If you had a loan prior paid off, you could go up to 75,000. And I usually keep my income around that 73K mark so I can avoid having to provide financials. Right? To that 73K mark, they usually ask you for financials to prove it. I can prove it, but I just don't like to give my blood samples just to get funding. All right. Sometimes they ask you for all kind of things: tax returns, blood samples, your children's social security number, your spouse social security number. I'm playing, but I'm serious. All right. Reliant Credit Union. This is a credit card. All right. This is a credit card we get with them high limits. It's a tier 3 credit card, but you can use this if you need it to build profile, right? Because we're not investing with these cards. I'm not the kind of guy that invests with personal credit cards. I just told you it reports, it takes your score. I don't like it, but I get them so I can structure my profile properly so later down the line I could get some more funding. Flagstar, it does the same. All right. 20 month. I think it's changed to 18 recently, but Flagstar, you get a 0% credit card for 20 months. And if you choose to invest with it, you can. I don't. But once again, to each his own. All right.
Hey, Prada.
Yes, Matt.
Hey,
how you
Matt
doing?
Smith. I got to jump in really quick because I got to get out of here. But I just want to say I super appreciate you and everybody that's listening right now. I have to tell you that credit is one of the number one things to get you to wherever you're at. And it's a funny thing because if you look at where I'm at right now, I'm at a bank and I'm getting ready to meet somebody that's going to take a $500,000 loan out to buy a franchise from us. And it all started, when I remember walking into this bank 15 years ago and I'm like, I want to buy a franchise and I want to open my own building. And they gave me a chance on an SBA after I had kept my credit tight. I had bought some houses. I had done what you're saying right now at a young age. And then I was able to buy more houses and second houses and then leverage that because you can't just borrow the money without paying it back. So it's using the business idea. And to your point, like you could show projections. It's not where you're at. Like these guys want to give you money. The SBA wants to give you money. They want you. There's more money out there than ideas, and you need to use that. So the bottom line is what you're doing right here is so important. And I think you get here and then you keep building up to again, these guys are taking a $500,000 loan. We're selling franchise all over the country, but it all started with good credit, protect your credit at all costs because somebody will loan you the money and then have the idea to back that up in projections. The banks will help with that. Like these guys they'll show you projections. The SBA already has it all set up. And there's so many plans out there. So I really appreciate this. I think this is one of the most needed conversations in America. And if done right and protect this right, sky's the limit on where you can go. It starts with 10 grand, goes to 20 grand, goes to 200, goes to 2 million, goes to 20 million. It keeps working its way up, baby. So I appreciate what you're doing. I look forward to talking to you out there, but I got 2 franchisees in here that I'm about to meet at the bank.
Go ahead and do your thing, Matt. We appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes.
Thanks for all you're doing, man. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.
All right, Matt. Matt just co-signed it. Listen, man, I'm not coming here, dropping fluff. Matt's the CEO. He's big. He's making millions of dollars, and he still uses credit. Care if you're poor, rich, middle class, whatever the case may be, credit is necessary. All right. You should use your money when you could leverage the bank's money and use their money. Keep your money protected. Put your money in another growing instrument, a growing vehicle. Take it out the banks because it doesn't grow there, right? Put it into a property, let it grow, let things appreciate, and then you can live off of the equity. That's how we do it around here. We'll get into that later. I'll see you guys in Colorado soon. Now, let me just finish this. It's almost over. We've been rocking a long time. And 10 more minutes of your time, and then we can answer some questions. Whatever you guys want to do. Card. With Navy Federal, credit card. You guys got to give me Navy Federal. We have so much to offer. I love Navy Federal. But you have to have, certain qualifications. Know someone in the military, be in the military yourself or in the armed forces. and they'll give you a shot. Apple Card, I love Apple Card. You could get the Apple Card without having a hard inquiry. If you freeze your credit file, right? During the application, they ask you, hey, or they better yet, they tell you, hey, you're pre-approved for X amount. That very moment, shoot over the TransUnion, freeze your TransUnion account, and then accept, go back to the Apple application, accept it, and you'll avoid that hard inquiry to TransUnion. All right. Navy Federal gives out high credit cards, and then they also give you high auto loans. So if you guys are into like Turo, things like that, or whatever, you want a new car, you want a high limit, you want that brand new Range Rover, Navy Federal will help you out. Okay. Uh Banks from Experian. All right. So remember, I told you guys, like I said, banks pull from certain credit bureaus. So you got to know where to go. All right. FNBO, NASA, OSC. These are like your Experian pools. Okay. These are your Experian pools. All right. Take a snapshot. You know what's going on here. I got the income verifications. Mostly anything over 73,000, they ask you for, some type of financials. But you keep it under there, you're gonna be good, right? And you can access those funds. Unless people, like I said in the beginning of this call, a lot of people think you need to be making money and having to show financials to get funding. Is not the case. It's really not the case. We've accessed well over $1 million of banks money without ever showing any financials. Right? It's all about your sequence and having your structured profiles properly before going to the bank. All right, so that's Experian. And we have Equifax here. You got the Marriott, you got the Chase. Chase, I love Chase. They have very high limits, but they inquiry sensitive. So if you choose to go with Chase, whether that's personal or business, make sure that you use the application first, so that way they don't see you racked up a bunch of inquiries along the way. US Bank, Ameris Bank, there's a few others. Okay. Now, loans. These are loans. I'd rather you use loans on your personal profile than using credit cards to invest. All right. Loans work. Because listen, if I have $100,000 loan and I have $100,000 credit card, and I use the credit card for 100K, my personal, I tank my credit score and hurt my chances of getting any more funding. If I use the for 100K, it does nothing to my credit score. Only thing it does is ruins my DTI. Okay, but that's about it. You still could get more credit cards, more funding with that 100K loan on your personal profile, right? So places like Livestream, Upgrade, Upstart, these are places you go and get some loans. SoFi, Equifax, they pull their market loans pulls from Equifax. Discover loans I'll stay away from because they pull all three credit bureaus. I don't like places that pull all three credit bureaus. I feel like you're being very nosy. You're all in my space. All right. I'll give you one credit bureau. If you don't want that, then I'm moving on, going somewhere else. All right. Finally, know your due dates. Know your dates. All right. You don't only just want to pay by your due date. You want to understand what I was talking about with that utilization earlier, the statement date. If you bring down the utilization by the statement date, you're going to report a low utilization. Okay. The reporting date is the date that the credit bureaus gets the information from your credit card on that statement date, that closing date. All right. They call it either one: closing date, cycle date, statement date. It's all the same thing. But you want to make sure that your utilization is low by the end of that cycle before they send that information over to the credit bureau for the reporting date. All right. Pay it down. And then if you have any balance left, you pay it off by the due date. That's how you make it happen. That's how you don't keep losing your scores. I know some people like, hey, I just paid my credit card in full. My score still took a tank and took a hit. That's because you allowed the utilization to report before bringing it down. Okay. So familiarize yourselves with these dates. Okay. Some resources that keeps me on point. You guys can check them out. Take a snapshot, go over there, check them out, stay up to date with the latest. Especially when you start playing this game, because it's just a game. There's two playbooks: the bank's playbook and our playbook, and we just got to know what they're looking for before even starting the game. Okay. Finally, if you guys are going to reach out, take some credit, build some credit, whatever the case may be, talk about it, hit me up. The way to get me directly is probably Instagram. Um, you call the 1-800 number. We've been building, we've been expanding. I have representatives. They know just as much as I know. Sometimes they know even more because I keep the best around me. And yeah, guys can reach out. Okay.
I love that product, man. I appreciate how much you're showing, showing up for us and giving to our community, man. And I think you talk about how you roll with the best around, right? You talk about your
Yeah.
squad. You talk about surrounding yourself with greatness.
Yeah.
I've been paying attention to your work here for a little bit leading up to this, and you got a squad, right? You got people that go out there, show up and show out, and they're in the game for the right reasons, and I appreciate that. I think even somebody at your level, you've had a lot of success, and you've created through excellence, right? You understand the game, you've built out the playbook, and then you run the play, rinse and repeat, right? And so now here you are in a place of success, but you're still going to live events. Like you still show up live events, and help me understand a little why is that important to you?
Because one, and I tell you how I fast forwarded a lot of this success that we're talking about. I got mentors, right? And my mentors came from being at live events, right? No one ever gives us a playbook and says this is what success looks like. So I had to figure it out along the way. And the way I basically catapulted to this position was by going to live events, meeting with successful people, having those conversations, learning what they did, staying in contact, getting a mentor, right? Because this is how you really learn. Like I said, there's no plan for success. The successfuls have one. And they can tell me and show me what to do. So being in that environment, being around the best brush and shoulders, like with people like yourself, like this is how you really expand on your business, you grow your business, and you minimize all the bumps and bruises you're going to get along the way. So I love live events for that reason.
I love it, man. I love it. I'm thankful you're going to be dropping more knowledge at our event. I'm sure it's going to be more around because you talked about you need to fix your credit, you need to build your credit, and then the last one was leverage it, right?
Yes.
Gain capital, cash flow. So I'm sure
Yes.
that third part is probably what you're going to be, speaking a little bit more on at boot camp, which I'm excited. But also I want to honor our commitments here with our community. We typically open up for Q&A, and I know that you have so much knowledge that it'd be great for us to see if we got some out there. So Jacob, I'll let you do that. Do we have anything coming through on the go for it?
Yeah, I'll be monitoring the chat, guys. So when you guys have a question, go ahead, raise your hand or drop it in the chat. And like Eric said, Prada's going to be dropping even more knowledge at the boot camp. So make sure we have his link there in the chat. So if you want to check out some tickets and come down and meet him in Colorado, get your money right, Prada, I got a question first off, because I got a lot of questions. I got a ton of questions, but I know our time's limited. So one thing that, well, let me get I gotta get two questions off here. So
Okay.
First off, you mentioned it went by kind of quick, but you mentioned how you liquidate a card from a 0% interest card and liquidate it into cash.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit how that's done?
All right. So, and some people, it's so many different ways. I'll give you at least two, right? One, let's say you're my partner, right? Or you have a spouse, or you have a friend, or anyone that you can trust. Invoicing you from my QuickBooks, my PayPal account, anything where I can send you an invoice, you are allowed to pay me with your credit card, right? And you pay with that same 0% interest credit card. You swipe, or better yet, you type in and pay that invoice, and now I'll receive those funds, right? Let's say it was 10K. You paid the 10K offer invoice. I got the 10K and I gave it to you, right? Minus maybe the 3% merchant fee. That's way better than the 10% that they're going to be charging you on a loan or line of credit. So utilizing that 0% interest credit card is beneficial. Anyway, there's something called an owner's draw, right? If you speak to your tax professional, they'll tell you even more about it. QuickBooks allows you to loan yourself the funds. So if you have the credit card, you send yourself an invoice through QuickBooks, and that now becomes the owner's draw. You can pull money out directly from your QuickBooks using this method. So those are two ways that I usually liquidate. Okay, liquidate credit cards, and then I think there's another one or two, but those are probably the easiest ways.
Yeah.
Other methods, they have less charges and fees, but you have to do much more like running around to do it.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah.
That's genius. One other thing is, with the economy the way it is, and where it's going, a lot of people are getting nervous. We had the bank closed down, a lot of nervous energy in the news, things like that. What's your take, and what should people be doing to be prepared for anything?
Well, I mean, overall, I would say take this. If they get this replay, play this replay back 100 times. 100 times over, because this is the tools that you'll need to access the funds that you need to build wealth, right? If you know how to access money, you don't care about money. It's not the same when you don't have any access to money. It's easier, and I need the people to help me. If you guys are out there, put one in the chat if you feel that it's easier to access $100,000 versus saving $100,000. Drop a one in the chat if you think it's easier to access versus save. Access versus save. All right. Anybody out there? Access. They said access. We got two access. Two access. Okay. If you feel it's easier to save, drop a two. Drop a two. Got three ones. Three ones to access. The ones are coming in. All right. So everybody agrees to access is easier than to save. So if you can't access funds, then you feel like you can't build wealth. Because if I come to you and say, hey, like Matt just said, we have an opportunity to franchise. We need 500 grand. Well, we're all looking around at each other like, well, we don't have 500,000. So immediately you ignore these opportunities. You close your ears to it. I don't want to hear it, right? You ignore it. Yet, if I know I can access 500,000 by leveraging my credit with 5 friends, this might be the opportunity we all needed. 100 grand from each of us. Simple. That's so easy. You guys are learn this at the boot camp. It's so easy to access 100K. Whether it's personal or business funding. Now 5 of us, group economics, we go and franchise, and that may have been a move that we needed to really build, because it's another thing. We don't like to build businesses from scratch. I love to purchase. If they already have the blueprint, they already are doing something that's working. So why start from scratch when I could go ahead and get something that's already cash flowing? I leverage the bank's money, OPM someone else's money, and now I'm able to access or acquire the business that's cash flowing. It makes all the sense, right? Just like a building. Why build a building from scratch when you already have one that's up running, it has tenants in it, it's making money? Which one would you rather do? Okay, so knowing how to access funds is way more important than anything in society right now, because those funds will help you build generational wealth.
I love it. I appreciate that. I see that Mary Glenn has a question from Albania. If we'll bring him up, our guy. What's up, Mary
Bring him
Glenn?
up real quick. And hey, Prada, real quick follow up to that. I appreciate you answering that. And what you're doing is definitely changing people's lives out here. For this is the information that people need. Mary Glenn, what's up, man? You've been with us for every week now. We're gonna see you in Colorado.
Hey, Undercover Mafia.
Mary Glenn, what's happening?
Hey guys, I really enjoyed this conversation. Hi Eric, hi Prada, hi Jacob, hi everyone. So I'm probably the only one guy that is not directly interested here, because those laws that do not apply in Albania. So I'm in Albania, Europe. But okay. I like your logic or your strategy, which was like, be very careful on your like the incremental decisions that we made in the past, and which will be it will have a higher impact on the future, and on especially when we take credit. So, and also the small details that we have to be very careful, and how the system works. So this is what I got from this webinar. It was very thoughtful and insightful what you said. So I really enjoyed that. And Eric, unfortunately, I will not be this year, but as I told you, I will do my best to be next year. So
No, for sure. No, we know that. We love that you keep showing up for us here virtually, and we know our paths will cross physically here in the future, man. But we appreciate you being an incredible, engaged part of our community. So thank you for that.
thank you.
So yeah, so we got
Thanks,
any
Mary
other
Glenn.
hands up? Go for it, Prada.
No, sorry. I was just telling him thanks, Mary Glenn. That was
Oh yeah,
great input. Yeah.
that's it. We got any other questions for Prada, Jacob? Anybody other hands raised?
I'm not seeing any hands, guys. If you guys want to ask a question, go drop in the chat, raise your hand.
Well, I'll hit you with one just because the way my mind works. One of the things, doing some homework on you, Prada, you talked a little bit about access, right? And especially for people of color, there may be different beliefs, right? There may be different thoughts around how to create pathways and access capital investment. So when I look at this and I look at your playbook and you talk about the data points, a lot of times data, if you run the play, it doesn't matter, your sex, your creed, your religion, your color, any of that kind of stuff. Would you feel that this is the equalizer for people of color, or do you feel like, hey, no, they're still playing a different game?
Absolutely. Now, there's been true signs or true evidence of, different types of redlining and different things from some of these major banks, right? Where, people of color have been directly disqualified versus someone of not color, right? And it happens. But when it comes to this, I have to stand firm and I have to stand with data points outbeats all color. I don't care who it is. Color, sex, like you said, it doesn't. The data points, when you these guidelines and you put this blueprint into play, I've done it. I'm probably the darkest person on the flyer. Look at it, right? I'm not even from this country. My family is from West Africa. Okay, so when you talk, and we came from the dirtiest streets of Newark, all right? I'm talking about hard times, all right? Slums. Okay, so if I did it, I access funds and I teach others in my same community, skin, light skin, middle tone, I don't care who it is, and follow these proven methods, they get predictable results. And it's just how it is. It's just how it is. So I'm not going to say there's no type of, discrimination going on out there. There always going to be, maybe 100 years from now, we're going to on an even playing field. But today, this was my experiences as a Black man in America, able to save millions of dollars of access funds in order to get me ahead to build generational wealth. So absolutely, Eric, you follow these data points, you'll be successful, or you'll be able to access the money to get you to the point where conversations come to you, opportunities come to you. If you don't have the money, nobody wants to talk to you. And that's as simple as it is, right? You have to have some skin in the game. You got to play or pay to play. That's how it goes. This is how everything goes, right? We're not coming together as a collective, going on the stage just for free. We spent all the time doing all the things that was necessary to get to this point. We've done it. We've done it. It's done it. And we come up on the stage to give you guys the Fab4 blueprint. So you don't have to go through 10 years of educating yourself and hitting the bruises. We come together, we give you 2 hours a day, 2 days of intensive opportunity to learn everything that it took us 10 years to learn, so you could go out there the next day and be great. Okay? Have students, and we have a saying, and I don't know who said it, and I know it's probably somebody popular. He says, we want to stand on the shoulders of giants, right? And that's what my students do with me. I'm as big as I am. Everybody thinks I'm huge. But what happens when my students get everything that I've accumulated over the years and they stand on my shoulders? They're even larger than me. Done way better things than me. My current student, the one I told you guys about, $800,000 in less than 60 days. I did that. So they took my seeds, everything that I've learned, I gave it to them, and they went out there and they started something new. They're reaching new heights that I can never reach, or I haven't reached, right? So you guys have to come and do the same. everything is not going to apply to you. You're not going to resonate with everyone, but it's going to be that one person on the stage or in the crowd. Times it's not even the information on the stage; it's the people in the crowds that you connect with. Takes your business to the next level. Takes your life to the next level. So another thing, I made more money with strangers than I did with friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
That is the most powerful information that I can give you tonight. That's everything else that I said. Just being around the right strangers, where we're not coming from, all these different mindsets and having our own opinions about each other. We're meeting each other with open hearts and open minds. In that very moment, we make a connection and we build something from that point. I only have that with live events and going and meeting new people with networking events. Strangers.
I love that. No, that's good. Hey, Jacob, I see Chris. What's up, Chris? Good to see you, man. Jacob, real quick, before we pass it along to Chris, because I'm guessing he's got some knowledge to drop as well, or maybe has a question. How do people, get? What do we got? We got a link in the chat. We want to obviously invite people. Extend tickets, offer. What do we got?
Yeah, real quick, guys. We're actually giving a special discount on the tickets for being on the call with us today. We got the link in the chat there. Use code undercover and you get the premier ticket at a nice price, and you get, that gives you access to the workshops and to lunch with, get to rub shoulders with everybody. So make sure you click on that and find out some more info. Like Prada said, there's people in the crowd that could help you out. And it's important to rub shoulders like that. We have a question from Chris, and it looks like we might have another one in the chat, and then that'll be it for today. But Chris, what's up, man?
Hey guys, always great, always a pleasure. And that's an awesome discount because it's about proximity, right? So I just wanted to say, Prada, loved hearing your thoughts and especially the data points. I'm big into data right now with a few businesses. But just hit you up on Instagram too, underneath Connect 76. But my thing is, I've got a 16-year-old stepson. I know he's not cut out for like the desk job. He's definitely the entrepreneur, and a little bit, taking some of your knowledge, I can help him apply and start him early, doing his own LLC, building his credit and foundation. And especially from a business versus personal too, that gives you more flexibility. So sometimes you may have more open avenues with business than you do with personal, where you can build. And, I was taught as a child, hey, credit cards are bad. Don't use credit. But reality is there's a plethora of money out there. So use the law of attraction and go use somebody else's money, not yours. Use it wisely, but build your credit, build your reputation, and really, and check out your website. Really great. And I'll probably be reaching out someday as well, just to get some more information, restructuring some of what we do here as well.
Sure.
I'm currently living out of country, but return back to the States in a couple of years. So, but work there. So it's a little convoluted, but all right. But thanks, and thanks to Wake Up, you guys for that connection with Prada. I really appreciate that, and that's a big part of these calls, man.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chris. Definitely, Chris. I was hoping you were gonna see you in a few weeks, because I'm gonna kill the stage. I'm gonna burn it down. When we talk about business funding, man, I really hope you guys could come, or at least catch the replay, something, because I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was told about this stage today, I only had a little smidgen of some information I was gonna drop. But I'm like, man, let me give the people what they need. I'm not the type of guy. You go to a lot of different stages, and they give you things that they keep like trying to hook you. They keep baiting you. Anyway, we want you to actually take this information and go out there and be great. So by the time, and just in the essence of time, this is why I did an hour and some change. Gonna do 8 hours. I'm gonna do it all day. We don't have the time. So you guys gotta come to the stage. You gotta come to Colorado, come to Pueblo. We got 2 days together. We're gonna lock in, we're gonna learn, we're gonna build. All right. But definitely business funding is what it's all about. And as far as your stepson, come on, man. I never wanted to do a 9 to 5. I did it just to get to the next level, but fortunate for him, he has someone like you, right? So, whatever the case may be, you'll be there to guide him. I didn't have the same guidance. I wish someone would have had this kind of information for me coming up. I would have never went certain ways that I went. But we're here today, and it's not about us. It's all about paying it forward and helping the community, helping our family, helping our friends, and getting everybody along the way. So that way we can all reach financial freedom, right? Financial freedom is the key to this, where we can exchange, that passive income from our earned income so we can spend more time with the family. But you're not going to do that by working in that 9 to 5, sitting behind that desk. You need to get around the right people. You need to get around like-minded people. Understand all the different things that are happening right under your noses. It's happening every day, but you don't know it because you're not around the right people. Information leads to the opportunity. You don't have the information, so you never get the opportunity. It's easy. It's one-on-one. It's the math is so simple. Get the information, get the opportunity, then you get the funding. Don't forget the funding. Gotta get the funding.
Good. That's great.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no doubt, Chris. Always good seeing you, man. You're my beautifully bald brother, man. Thankful you're still hanging out with us and rocking with us, homie.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Jacob, lock this thing down, man.
Yeah, guys, this has been great. I just got kicked out. My microphone cut out and everything, so I hope you guys could hear me.
We got you.
But Prada, thank you, man. Appreciate you a ton. We came full circle from when we met at GrowthCon, and now
Yes,
we're
sir.
going to be able to do this event together. And it's just always awesome to connect with people like you that want to give knowledge and share the wealth, right? And provide for others. Because at the end of the day, we could do so much together as people, and we're so
sir.
much better, like you said, as a team on top of each other's shoulders. So I love that.
Yes, sir.
And so, guys, you guys want to make sure that you guys click the link, check it out. There's going to be a ton of speakers. As you know, you got Prada. Next week, we're going to be here with Greg Hickman. He's going to be talking about automation and how you can free up your time in your business. So make sure to tune in for that and get in the room this April 27th, 28th in Pueblo, Colorado. In the building, our headquarters here with the whole Wake Up team and plenty more, just like Prada, sharing their wealth and knowledge. So let's go. Yeah, let's get active. I love it.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, Prada, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you suiting up, showing up, and hooking us up, dropping the knowledge, man. It's good stuff.
Anytime,
and,
Eric.
I'm thankful to have proximity to you here next month and learn more about you and see ways that we can get active together, right? Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Eric. Yes, sir. Thank you,
right.
fellas. It's been a pleasure.
Yep.
I'll see you guys in a few weeks. Peace
That's
and
it. Be
blessing,
good.
family, everyone. I hope I see everyone that didn't get the comment. Whatever the case may be, to the event, come to the boot camp. Let's bleed in real time. If this was good, imagine what you're gonna get. The stage. Come on, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Right.
Thanks, Jacob. Thanks, Gabe. See you guys.
Yep. Thank you.
Nice.
See you. Just